morning. It is bright. That sun is amazing. That sun is amazing. In the 12 steps, in the book Alcoholics Anonymous, there's a paragraph that says selfishness and self-centeredness, that seems to be the root of our troubles, driven by 100 forms of fear. Selfishness, self-centeredness, driven by 100 forms of fear. So the root of the dilemma, the spiritual dilemma, the spiritual malady of the alcoholic is selfishness and self-centeredness, and behind that is fear, 100 forms of fear. And I just wanted to talk about that for just a minute. And what does that look like? Because not only is it there, this 100 forms of fear, but often one of the forms of fear is we're afraid to even address it. And so how do we protect ourselves? Because we imagine that we live in an unsafe world that we have to manage. We have to look after everything. We have to look after our kids. We have to look after our finances. We have to look after everything, because of fear. And the root of the fear is even a fear of letting go of fear, because we believe that fear is keeping us safe. when actually it's tearing away our full potential. We can't live in our full potential. We're living in fear. Fear says no. Fear says no. I know I won't do this. No, I can't do that. And love says yes. So how can we see that we're often, that we're coming from fear? Look at our response to life. Where is it a yes? And ego says, yeah, well, I said I'm doing better. I'm doing better. Yes, we're doing better. But just watch, okay? Fear keeps us in an old place. Fear tells us we're not good enough. Fear tells us it's not safe. Fear tells us, he doesn't love us. She doesn't love us. Fear says a lot of stuff that is, it's just not true. It's just not true. And it's all based in this idea that the world is not a safe place. And so I'm just, imagine, hi Jennifer, hi Jilly. Look at the little birds, they're so close. They're beautiful. So just imagine that a life without fear, to be free of fear. We have a little prayer, a simple little prayer in the 4th step that says, God, take away my fear, show me what you have me to be. It's a bit conditional because it says that we're going to go to work for him. But just imagine that fear, in the 12 steps, it says driven by 100 forms of fear. And fear is always a fear of what's going to happen to me. What about me? Come on. And because we believe that somehow life is not going to give us what we want, or we're somehow going to miss out. And so fear is the key that to our freedom, in a way, to be aware of when we're in fear, and to push through, to ask God, to pray, to be given courage, to move through whatever it is that we think is not for us. What if everything was for us, for you? And so the other thing that fear does is it makes up stories. Have you guys I can see we've kind of set up a situation where Trevor's here and he's got the iPad. And if you have any questions or thoughts about fear or comments, say them. What is it that you're afraid of? Where does fear appear for you? And in each moment, is it in the system? Sometimes I'll wake up with it. It's like, holy shit, it's just in my body. And I have to believe, I do believe that it's moving. It's just moving, and which is an amazing thing. That it's almost cellular, and many of us, fear dropped in as trauma as we were children. Something happened that shook us so bad that we just, it created an innate fear, like a gripping fear. And we at 3 or 4 or 5 years old, we realized that from our estimation, that the world was not a safe place. So we have some big work to do to release that and to trust in God. What we're saying with fear is that I do not trust God, because God is either is or he isn't. Either he's everything or he's nothing. If he's everything, then we have nothing to fear. Nothing to fear. That everything in every moment is God. And fear, I just want to say one more thing about it. In our book, in the 12 steps, it says, fear set in motion trains of circumstance. So we actually create our reality. We've been told that we do manifest here, that we have the power to actually create our world. Pretty pleased with this one right now. It's pretty exciting, especially this little backyard. Anyway, so fear sets in motion trains of circumstance we felt we didn't deserve, And so if stuff's happening in your life, recognize that if we're creating it, fear often, if you're not happy with it, fear's often at the root of it. So fear needs to be, I don't like to use the word overcome, but we need to be able to live a life in love, not fear. And not as an ideal, although it is an ideal to begin with, but as a practice, and to recognize. So one thing is, if we see fear, we can then breathe and go, oh, look at that. Wow. And we start to, and start to practice saying yes. Practice saying yes. Yes, I'll come, I'll go out. Yes, I'll take that new job. Yes, I'll quit this job. Yes, I'll leave that guy, or yes, I'll stay with that guy, or yes, I'll call that person. Just yes, and risk yes. And what's the worst thing that can happen? You can always say no later. Just breathe into it, and it becomes a part of who we are. So recognize the debilitating power of fear, 100 forms of fear. And any thoughts? Any thoughts? Okay, you guys. We're going to read the daily reading of the day, which I have no idea what it is, but this thing came to me. Is it the 12th? This thing, Trevor and I were in the kitchen a few minutes ago, and I thought, wow, just nothing is coming that I might want to talk about this morning a bit. And then, in the 12 steps of AA and NA and CA, we cover this subject so well on fear. And yet, many of us still choose to live in it. And recognize that fear makes that decision. It's subtle. Here we go. June the 12th. Says, when we came into the 12 steps, we made a tremendous discovery. We found that we were sick persons rather than moral lepers. We were not such queer birds as we thought we were. Look at the English, eh? Wow. We were not such queer birds as we thought we were. We found other people who had the same illness that we had, who had been through the same experiences that we've been through. They had recovered. If they could do it, we could do it. Was hope born in me the day I walked into AA? Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Yes. Wow, it's hot out here. Well, okay.
I'm not sure how long that was going on because it kept repeating the last 10 seconds where you're taking off your scarf and then it stopped. So I thought it was still running. Oh, you're on again.
We lost our connection, and so now we're back. I can't see. What happens is that this is kind of sitting in front of me, and I think the phone got too hot. So anyway, that's it. I don't know where we left off. Was the reading done, you think?
It's hard for me to say. It was from when you took off your scarf, I think.
Wow. Well, you guys, I don't know where we left off. Anyway, the whole theme was building our foundation, our house, on a rock of love, a rock of faith, and to recognize to become aware of how fear can actually be a traitor to our soul. Fear can tell us it's looking after us, but it's not. And it will eventually lead us into oblivion. Okay, love you guys. I'm gonna stop. I can't even see this at all, but I'm gonna finish and talk to you soon. Thanks for today. Love you. Ambassadors of love. Okay, bye.